So here we are, you've already watched part 2 where we assembled most of this plane. This is part 3. What we're doing right now is we are putting a light coat of primer on this model. That way we could see where all our little imperfections are from when we put all of our green putty down and we sanded it just to fill in all the gaps on this model. We're going a nice light coat on this. Going to put on all the primer. We're going to put it under the light. It always helps to do this, that way you can see all your tiny little scratches that you have all over the fuselage of the plane, or for that matter, whatever model you're going to be doing. So we did that side. Now we're going to be doing this side. Not a lot to it. Just take your time, nice and easy strokes with the airbrush. I don't use a lot of air. I go real light with it. Here we are putting on a second coat, making sure everything's nice and even, because like I said, we do want to see those imperfections and we want to see how it turns out. We're going to get the edges right here, get in between where the prop is, because those were difficult areas, especially with that masking on there. We got to get the back side, of course, if we're doing the front and the top and the sides and the right and the bottom and the ups and the downs. So just go over the wing area with this. Going to go over the tail portion. And here we are getting a little bit on the inside there. That's some overspray. We're going to have to take care of that later. Unavoidable unless you mask it off, which was probably going to be a pain, so I just decided later on I'll just do some touch-ups. Here we go again, doing a little bit more of this primer coat. We're just about done with it. Once we get that done, you can see all the imperfections in this model, and here they are. So you see this line right here, you'll see these are the areas that need to be worked on. This area here, along the tail. These are things that sometimes you don't see when you actually do the model until the paint is on. It's kind of like building a house. When you build your house, don't do it yourself because things come out funny. So here we go. We're putting on a light coat of sea blue. I use some Tamiya paint on this. It's looks a little black, but it is a blue when you hold it up to the light. You can use whatever you want. Test it out. See what colors you like first. I just go back and forth with this. Nice coats. Go thicker and thicker each time. I really enjoyed putting this one on. I tried to take my time and make this model look really, really decent to the best of my ability. So here we are putting on a thicker coat on the fuselage, a little bit thicker than what we did on the wings, but still just a light coat because we just want to kind of work the color onto this, and that way it brings out the color. Just light coats going over the model. Here we are even going over the canopies. Remember, those are masked off, so we get to take that off later, and that was to prevent all the overspray from getting inside of there. Going on the back side of the tail. Here where we have our stabilizers and the actual tail fin itself. We're going to get those. Turn the model to the opposite side after this, and we'll work on that. Here it is, the back side of this from the right side. Going up and down through the tail. All the way to the end of this model. That way we can make this look nice and pretty. Nice even coats, just taking our time. No need to rush. We'll get it done eventually. And I'm sure, like any model knows, sometimes slow and easy wins the race. And that's what we're doing right here. Putting on a nice little coat, that sea blue that I got from the Tamiya. I did forget to mention the color I'm using. It is XF17, which the F stands for flat. If you want gloss, which probably would be better because you're going to decal the model, just get the one with the X in front of it. I'm not sure if they make it. Here is the front half of the fuselage right here. After we get this taken care of, we're going to be doing the wing portion, of course, because you can see it's a little bit bare there, so we do have to get some paint onto it. Here we are, almost finished with that front of the cowling, and now we do the wing. Just light coats like I did the rest of the fuselage, going back and forth, up and down, and all around. It came out really nicely. I was happy with this product. I like the paint that I used. I just wish the color would have been a little bit more blue. I did have some other colors that I had from different brands. Just turned out this was the one I chose to use for whatever reason. So this is it. We are going to start putting on a heavier coat. As you can see, going back and forth along this model, it's going to get darker and darker until it looks how we would like it to look. You can put as many coats on it as you want. Remember, it's your model. Make it look good. Here you go, getting all the way up to that cowling now, making that look pretty. We're going to go along this wing. Right here is our stabilizer. putting on a little bit of a thicker coat. Now the model is really starting to turn out. You can see the color starting to come out, going a little bit thicker here on the wing on the right side. And now we are going to do the other side of this model and make it look even more pretty. So here it is, we're doing the left wing. I'm getting a little bit better at the airbrushing, by the way. You know, sometimes you just want to go easy with it and sometimes you want to rush it. But sometimes it's just a matter of know-how, which is how it is here. Let's get the front of the fuselage right here on the left side of the plane. Just go along those areas where we filled in with putty. Make those look good. Keep going along the rest of the model. Don't forget to get the canopy right there. We want that to look pretty. Don't worry about the back of it because that's just got some tape over it. Keep going with this. Finish the rest of the tail. As you can see, it's a really thick coat now, so I've already started from the back end of that plane working my way forward. And now we are doing the front of the wings. We got to get that because of, you know, the way this model was angled. It's facing up, so you can only get certain areas spraying one direction. It's always best to make sure you do the model properly. Here we are spraying in between the prop. As I said, that was a hard area to get. Now we're getting the front of the left wing. Make sure you do it right. The whole part of this plane, it's all one color. It's all a sea blue, even the bottom. So you don't have to worry about doing a two-tone on it. But if you were, you could see it did it very well just by spraying one side of this aircraft. You didn't have to put any lines on it. It came out really well. Doing this the same way that I did the top part of the plane, just doing light coats, and then we go darker and darker each time until that color really starts to come out of the model. I think that's one of the best ways to do it, and it's always recommended just do some light coats first and then you slowly build your way up to thicker and thicker coats, because you don't want too thick of a paint job on there because you can get a lot of paint runs and things like that. And you can see what this model is turning out. It's doing really well. I know there's a lot of painting involved in that, and I figure on this video I'd show you more of the painting than I have before. We just keep going back and forth, going over that wing. Here it is. Look how good that looks after a lot of coats of paint. Looks pretty good. This is going to be the last coat right here, and then we will wind up spraying a gloss coat on the model. Why do we spray the gloss coats? That way we can put decals on and they can look really good and they can sit nice and they won't silver afterwards. So here we go. We're just about done with this final coat, and then after that we're going to put a little bit of a gloss coat on there, as I said earlier. So here we go. This is the tank. We do have to make sure we spray that. We do 3 coats on that. You know, this is the first coat. I'm just holding it by my hand, so naturally you got to flip it to the other side, do half of it, and then flip it back, that kind of deal. Unless you mount it to something, which I didn't do. As you can see, I'm putting the gloss coat here because it doesn't look like there's really any color coming out of the head air gun. It just looks pretty clear, and there's a good reason for that. Do this side, and you can see that gloss coat actually going on there, making this model shine up really well. Keep on going all the way across the model. Get the wings, both sides, the front and the back. Here is the back portion, and you can see each coat that I do, you can see that gloss just reflecting right off of the paint job that I did. Maybe it would be better to get gloss colors while I'm doing this, that way I don't have to worry about it from now on. Might save me a little extra coating, and then I could just spray a flat coat on the models to make it better. Going over the top of this wing here, working our way down to the bottom, you can see the color coming out on there as well. We've got some rockets. It'd be a good idea to hold them or mask them down with something because they're going to blow away. Look at that. There they go. They're getting painted white here. The tips of these go black. I used the airbrush even for the black as an experiment just to see how it would turn out. First ones I didn't put on any masking tape. On the other ones I did. Just be careful to bleed through. Don't get the paint too thick or too wet because it'll go right through that tape. Here's one of the rockets. Make sure you get the front and the back of it and just do it really well, both sides of that. Now here what we have is one more rocket where the tape comes off, and you can see how that line looks. I'm very happy with the job that turned out. Now we've got our bombs. Paint the bombs olive drab. All bombs go olive drab, it seems like. So I just do one side, then I go back and I do the other. make sure you turn it in all different directions so you can get inside of those fins. They were a little bit tricky, but we managed to do that. You can scrape away the paint later, do as you want. This was also a Tamiya color, and I'm really happy with how this turned out as well. So just keep working the paint up and down this bomb here. I think we have 2 of these to do. It was really simple. I'm glad there were only 2. A lot of rockets though, of course, and then 1 fuel tank. Here we are getting the backside. We're going to get these fins. As I said, make sure you just hold it in a bunch of different directions. That way you can get inside, because otherwise you're going to leave it very vulnerable to looking bare plastic. And we definitely don't want that, because that would just totally ruin the look of the model. So this bomb is just about done. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Filling in the rest of that plastic that's unpainted. We'll get this one done and we'll move on to the next bomb. And then after that, we can do the next video, which I know you guys can't wait to see. That'll be part 4. Here is that last bomb. Just doing the fins on this one. Be careful. Watch how you hold it. Maybe wear a glove, that way you don't get paint on your hands, because nobody likes getting paint on their hands, because then you got to wash it off and that can be bad. So I hope you like watching part 3. Watch part 4 next. Subscribe to get the latest videos. Comments and likes are appreciated.